All right, let's unpack this.
Okay.
Looks like we're going deep on Severance Season 2, Episode 1.
Yeah.
You've given us a really interesting mix here.
Mm-hmm.
An article about Kafka.
Yeah.
And 3 YouTube videos.
I love it.
All about fan theories.
Oh, yeah.
And it seems like you're really trying to figure out what is going on with this show.
Yeah, I think that's what everyone's trying to figure out.
Especially all this talk about Kafka.
Right.
And the meaning behind the severance procedure.
Yeah, and I think what you're really getting at is you want to unlock, like, the secrets of Lumon.
It's
like, what is really happening?
Yeah.
What's the truth here?
What's the truth?
Yeah.
What's going on?
And what I think is so fascinating about it
Yeah.
is that we're not just talking about plot twists here.
Right.
This is a deep dive into some really, really big questions about identity and power and what it even means to be human.
For sure.
Like, what does it mean to be a person?
Okay, so let's start with that article about Kafka.
Okay.
It basically says that Luban Industries is straight out of a Kafka novel.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of those totally soul-crushing bureaucracies where nobody knows what's going on and the rules make absolutely no sense.
Exactly. And it's that feeling of absurdity that just gets to you, you know?
It really does.
Think about it. Like, haven't we all felt that way at some point?
Absolutely.
Like, we're stuck in a system that is totally illogical, beyond our control.
Totally.
Severance just takes that feeling and amplifies it to a whole other level.
Yeah, it really does.
Like, times 1,000.
And it's not just the rules, it's the whole vibe of Lumandone.
Right.
Those endless white hallways, that creepy music,
Yeah.
the way that everyone speaks in this monotone voice. It's like you've stepped into this nightmare that's designed to make you feel small and insignificant.
Exactly. I mean, and that's what's so brilliant about the show's visuals. They create this atmosphere of unease and disorientation. That is pure Kafka.
Totally.
And, you know, speaking of feeling disoriented, the article also makes this really compelling point about identity fragmentation.
Yeah, I mean, the whole premise of Severance is literally splitting a person's consciousness in two. It's like the ultimate form of alienation for yourself.
It is. And the article argues that this theme of identity fragmentation is also central to Kafka's work.
Oh, really?
Yeah. His characters are often struggling to understand who they are, feeling like strangers to themselves. It's like they've been almost like severed in a way.
Oh, that's deep.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got bureaucratic absurdity. We've got fragmented identities.
Yep.
What else does this article highlight?
Well, remember how Lumen is constantly watching its employees?
Oh, yeah.
You've got cameras everywhere, sensors tracking their every move, and then that eerie Lumen is listening.
Oh, yeah.
Message.
Totally creepy.
Pops up on the screen.
Oh, my God. It's like Big Brother on steroids.
Exactly. It's like, whoa.
And the article points out this theme of surveillance is another classic Kafka trope.
Oh, okay.
You know, think about those unseen forces that seem to be controlling the characters in his novels.
Right.
It's like they're always being watched, judged, manipulated.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, right?
It does.
Like how much of our own lives are already under surveillance.
Yeah.
I mean, our phones are tracking our location, our online activities being monitored.
It's true.
Are we really that far off from this world of Severance?
It's a chilling thought, isn't it?
It is.
And I think that's what Severance does so well.
Yeah.
It takes those anxieties that we already have about privacy, control, and the power of technology.
Right.
And it pushes them to the extreme.
Yeah.
It's like holding up a mirror.
To our own society.
Yeah.
And asking, how far are we willing to go?
Wow.
How far are we willing to go?
Okay, so the article definitely sets the stage for this really unsettling world.
Yeah.
What about those YouTube videos?
Okay.
I know they're full of wild theories about what's really going on at Lumen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They go deep down the rabbit hole.
They do.
Oh, yeah.
Like deep.
They're all trying to decipher the clues hidden within the episode, especially when it comes to the MDR department and their mysterious work. Like, what are they actually doing?
Yeah.
One video suggests that those seemingly meaningless numbers they're sorting might actually represent human emotions.
Okay.
Like they're trying to quantify and control the very essence of what makes us feel.
So it's not just data entry.
Right.
They're messing with people's feelings.
That's the theory.
Whoa.
And it gets even weirder.
Okay.
Another video proposes
Right.
that the MDR department is actually trying to piece together the consciousness
What?
of Keir Egan,
Okay.
the founder of Lumon.
Hold on. Are they saying that each severed worker has a little tiny piece of Keir's personality trapped inside their brain?
Yeah.
And they're somehow extracting it through these data refinement tasks?
It sounds crazy, right?
That sounds bonkers.
But the video
Yeah.
makes some interesting connections
Okay.
between the episode's dialogue and Keir's philosophy.
Right.
Remember when James Egan, his descendant, talked about the revolving?
Yes.
He makes it sound like some kind of spiritual cycle.
Oh, yeah.
Where everyone eventually becomes a part of Keir.
Yeah, it's all very cryptic.
It is.
And creepy.
Yeah.
It's like Lumen's more of a cult than a corporation.
That's a great point.
Right.
And I think that's what makes Severance so compelling.
Yeah.
It blurs the lines between science fiction, psychological thriller, and social commentary.
Right.
You never quite know what's real, what's imagined, what's a metaphor for something deeper.
My head is spinning a little.
Yeah.
But in a good way.
In a good way, in a good way.
Okay, so we've got Kafkaesque themes of absurdity, surveillance, and fragmented identity.
Yep.
Plus these wild theories about consciousness manipulation and corporate cults.
Yeah.
What else is out there?
Well, one video focuses on those unsettling details at the end of the episode.
Okay.
Remember Mark's new file, Cold Harbor?
Yeah.
The close-up shot of dead axons on his computer screen?
Yes.
And the fact that it all seems connected to Miss Casey?
Yeah, those were some seriously creepy cliffhangers.
Right.
And the name Cold Harbor.
Yeah.
Doesn't that refer to a really brutal Civil War battle?
Yes.
With tons of casualties.
Yeah, a lot of death.
Yeah.
And the video argues that it's not just a random name.
Okay.
It's a deliberate foreshadowing of something terrible happening to Miss Casey. Perhaps even suggesting that the MDR department is somehow responsible for her fate.
That's dark.
Yeah, but it makes you think.
It does.
Right.
If they can manipulate memories, maybe they can manipulate life itself.
That's the question that hangs over the whole episode, isn't it?
Right.
What are the true limits of Lumen's power?
What are they willing to do to achieve their goals?
To achieve their goals, exactly.
Okay. I'm officially hooked. This is one deep dive. I cannot wait to finish.
It's a wild ride, and we're just getting started. Yeah, it really is a wild ride. And we're just getting started.
Just getting started.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what strikes me?
What?
Is how Severance manages to be both unsettling and strangely familiar at the same time.
Totally.
It's like this funhouse mirror reflection of our own work culture taken to the extreme.
That's so true. Yeah. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
We're already expected to be always on.
Always on. Yeah.
Checking emails after hours.
Right.
Blurring the lines between work and personal life.
Yeah.
Severance just takes that to a whole other level.
It does.
Literally splitting people's minds into...
Right. It's like they've taken the concept of work-life balance and just thrown it out the window.
Gone.
It's gone.
Out the window.
And speaking of work, one of the YouTube videos had a really interesting take on the whole MDR department mystery.
Okay.
They argued that the data refinement tasks might actually be a form of emotional manipulation.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
They were saying that those numbers represent different emotions.
Right.
And by sorting them, the workers are somehow being conditioned or controlled.
Like they're being programmed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's like they're trying to break down human emotions into their most basic components. Maybe to figure out how to predict or even manipulate behavior.
Wow, that's a disturbing thought.
It's a pretty disturbing thought, isn't it?
It is.
Make you wonder.
It does. What happens to those emotions once they're refined?
Right.
Where do they go?
Where do they go, right?
Yeah, it's like they're being siphoned off.
It is. It's like they're being siphoned off.
But for what purpose?
For what purpose?
Like, what's the end goal?
That's the big question. And speaking of big questions, what did you make of all the theories about Keir Egan?
Well, it's definitely clear that he's more than just a company founder. He's like this mythical figure. Almost a cult leader.
Yeah.
The way they talk about him.
Yeah.
with this reverence and awe.
Yeah.
It's kind of creepy.
It's creepy. And those bizarre paintings of him
God.
Flying through the air,
Yeah.
like some kind of...
Like a corporate deity.
Corporate deity, right?
It's wild.
Definitely not subtle.
Not at all.
It seems like Lumen was trying to create
a
very specific image of Kier.
Right.
But why? What are they hiding?
What are they hiding? I don't know.
Right.
Maybe they're trying to distract from what's really going on.
Maybe,
Like all this talk about Kier's philosophy.
Yeah.
And the revolving.
Yeah.
Could just be a smokescreen.
Right.
For something much darker.
That's a really interesting point. It's like they're using Kier as a kind of propaganda tool, creating this mythology around him to justify their actions.
Justify, yeah.
And you know what?
It
reminds me of something else we see in the episode.
Okay.
The way Lumon tries to control the narrative.
Yeah.
Outside of its walls.
Right.
Remember that article?
Yes.
About Mark's brother-in-law?
Oh, yeah.
Supposedly writing a book?
Yeah.
Praising Kier Egan?
Oh, yeah, that was so obviously fake.
It was so fake.
It was so fake.
But it shows how far they're willing to go.
Yeah.
To manipulate public perception.
Yeah, they're manipulating everything.
I'm manipulating everything.
It makes you question everything you see and hear.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, like, how much of what we're told about Limon is actually true.
It's like we're constantly being gaslighted.
We are.
Just like the characters in the show.
Just like the characters.
Okay, so we've got corporate cults.
We do.
Emotional manipulation. Propaganda.
Yeah.
And let's not forget about that creepy new break room.
Oh, yeah, that was definitely unsettling.
That was bad.
I mean, the old one was bad enough.
Right.
With all that weird equipment.
Right, with the flashing red light.
Yeah.
Like, what was that?
But this new one...
I don't know, but...
This one's worse.
They've taken psychological torture... to a whole new level.
To a whole new level.
Like those posters with the cryptic messages.
I know.
And that giant screen.
Yeah.
That's just constantly reminding them that Lumen is listening.
Right.
It's all designed to make them feel paranoid and powerless.
Exactly. It's like a master class.
Yeah.
In subtle manipulation.
It really is.
And speaking of manipulation, what did you make of Heliar this episode?
Something about her just felt off.
Yeah.
Like the way she reacted to seeing Mark.
Right.
Her whole demeanor. It's like she's not the same person we met in season 1.
You're picking up on something that a lot of people have noticed.
Really?
And one of the YouTube videos had a really interesting theory about this.
Okay.
They think that it might not actually be Kelly in control anymore.
Okay.
It could be her outie, Helena Egan.
Oh, wow.
Somehow taking over her innie's body.
Wow. That's a mind-blowing theory.
It is. It is.
But it would make sense, right? I mean, if Helena wanted to infiltrate the MBR department and figure out what they're really up to, that would be the perfect way to do it.
It would be the perfect way to do it.
Yeah.
And think about how much more disturbing it becomes if that's true.
Yeah.
It means that Lumen has the technology to not only sever people's consciousness, but also to potentially control it.
Oh, my God.
From the outside.
Wow.
That's scary.
I'm officially creeped out.
Yeah.
But also kind of impressed.
Yeah.
Like the level of detail and thought
I know
that went into this show.
It's incredible.
It's incredible.
It's incredible.
It really is.
And that's what keeps us coming back for more.
It really is.
You know, it's like this giant puzzle box.
It is.
And we're constantly searching for those missing pieces.
We are.
Right.
So what do you think is the most important?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
We've uncovered so far.
Yeah. Honestly, for me,
yeah,
it's that unsettling connection between the MDR department and Miss Casey's fate.
Right.
Remember that final shot of the episode?
Yes, I do.
Mark sees her file.
Yeah.
On his computer screen.
Right.
Along with those images of dead axons.
Right. And it's like they're implying that the work that they're doing is somehow killing her.
Exactly.
Wow.
And when you combine that with the name of Mark's new file, Cold Harbor, which refers to this.
Yeah, this bloody Civil War battle.
Bloody Civil War battle.
Yeah.
It's definitely not a good sign.
It's not a good sign at all.
No.
And let's not forget that James Egan. Keeps talking about the revolving. This idea of consciousness being like recycled or transferred.
Yeah.
Could they be using the data from the MDR department to somehow manipulate or even resurrect people.
It's a chilling thought, isn't it?
It is.
And it raises so many questions about the ethics of severance. Like, are these people really consenting to have their lives split in half?
Exactly.
What happens to their sense of self, their memories,
their relationships?
Their relationships, right?
Yeah.
It's like
they're playing God.
They are, right?
People's lives.
They're playing God with people's lives. And I think that's what makes Severance so powerful.
Absolutely.
It's not just a sci-fi thriller. It's a commentary on the human cost of technological advancement, the dangers of corporate power.
For sure.
And the very nature of what it means to be alive.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
And I think that's what you, the listener, are really grappling with here. You're trying to figure out what this show is saying about our own world.
About our own world,
Our own choices. Our own humanity.
I love that.
Right.
And that's what makes this deep dive so fascinating.
It is.
It's not just analyzing a TV show.
Right.
We're exploring the deepest parts of ourselves.
The deepest parts of ourselves, yeah.
Really?
And our relationship to work and technology.
Oh, yeah.
And what it means to be human.
Wow.
In this crazy world.
I love it. It really feels like Severance is holding up this mirror to our deepest fears about work, technology, and what it means to be human. As we've been talking about all this stuff, I keep thinking about those recurring images of doors in the show.
Oh, that's such a great observation. I mean, doors are such powerful symbols.
But it's
especially in a show like this where reality is constantly shifting.
Right, like those doors on the severed floor.
Yeah.
They're more than just physical barriers.
Right.
They represent these psychological boundaries between the innie and outie selves.
Yeah.
Between work and life. Between what's real and what's fabricated.
And one of the YouTube videos actually connects those doors to Kafka's work.
Oh, wow.
Which makes total sense.
When
you think about it, in Kafka's stories, doors often symbolize transitions between different states of being.
Oh, yeah.
Like waking and dreaming or reality and illusion.
I totally see that.
Yeah.
It's like each time a character goes through one of those doors in Severance, they're entering a whole new dimension of consciousness.
They are.
Yeah.
And you never quite know what's on the other side.
Yeah.
It could be liberation or it could be a deeper level of control.
Wow.
And you know what else struck me about the doors?
What?
They often lead to these long, empty hallways.
Right.
Which create this feeling of isolation and disorientation.
It's like they're trapped in a labyrinth.
Right.
Both physically and mentally.
Exactly.
And that sense of being lost and alone. That's pure Kafka, right?
It is pure Kafka.
It's like his characters are always searching for answers, for meaning.
Yeah.
But they're constantly running into dead ends and bureaucratic roadblocks.
Absolutely.
And that feeling of helplessness.
Yes.
Of being caught in a system you can't escape. It's what makes Severance so unnerving.
It is.
It's like a nightmare version of our own anxieties about work.
Right.
About identity.
Yep.
About the world we live in.
And it's not just the physical spaces that feel Kafkaesque. It's the whole structure of Lumon Industries, the nonsensical rules, the constant surveillance, the way they manipulate their employees with rewards and punishments.
Yeah.
It's all designed to keep people off balance.
Off balance, right.
Unsure of themselves.
Right.
And ultimately easier to control.
Easier to control. That's the goal.
That is the goal.
You're hitting on something really important here.
What's that?
The theme of control.
Control, yes.
Lumon isn't just a corporation.
Right.
It's this system of power that permeates every aspect.
Every aspect.
Of its employees' lives.
Yes.
And that control extends beyond the severed floor.
It does.
As we see with the way they manipulate the media and public opinion.
Public opinion, yeah.
Like those fake news articles.
Yeah.
And the book praising Kirigan.
Right.
It's all part of their strategy.
It is.
To shape the narrative and maintain their grip on power.
That's it.
It's like they're saying, we control what you see. We control what you think.
Yep.
And ultimately, we control who you are.
Yeah.
And that's scary.
That's what makes Severance so relevant to our own lives. Even if we've never had our memories surgically divided, it forces us to ask ourselves,
it does.
How much control do we really have over our own lives?
Yes. Right. And how much are we willing to give up for the sake of security, comfort, or even just a paycheck?
It's a question that doesn't have an easy answer.
It doesn't, no.
But, as we've been dissecting all these theories and clues, I keep coming back to this one idea that feels really central to the whole show.
Okay, I'm curious.
It's the idea that our memories are what make us who we are.
Yes.
Like our experiences, our relationships, our emotions, they're all stored in our minds.
Yeah.
And they shape our perceptions of the world and ourselves.
And what Severance does is it takes that fundamental part of being human and fragments it. Manipulates it.
Yeah.
And ultimately tries to control it.
Control it, that's the whole point.
And that's what makes the show so terrifying.
Yeah.
Because if you can control someone's memories, you can essentially control their entire reality.
Or whole reality.
And that brings us back to those unsettling details.
Right.
At the end of the episode, Mark sees Miss Casey's file on his computer screen, along with those images of dead axons.
Right.
And it's like, the show is asking what happens to our memories when we die.
That's a good question.
Are they simply erased?
Right.
Or is there something more?
What if there is something more?
Right.
I don't know.
And if there is, what does that mean for the severed workers?
Are they truly gone when their any selves are deactivated? Or is there a part of them that lingers?
Right.
A fragment of consciousness that can't be completely erased?
It's a question that the show doesn't answer, at least not yet.
Doesn't answer yet.
But it's a question that haunts every aspect of Severance.
It really does.
And it's what keeps us on the edge of our seats.
On the edge of our seats.
This sprint for answers.
The sprint.
And you know what?
Yeah.
It's that sense of mystery, of unanswered questions, that makes this deep dive so rewarding.
I think so, too.
I mean, we've explored all these different theories, connected the dots between the show and Kafka's work, unpacked the deeper meaning behind those symbols and clues. But in the end, Severance is a show that defies easy answers.
It defies easy answers.
It leaves us with more questions than we started with.
It does. It does.
And that's what makes it so brilliant.
And that's what makes it so brilliant.
I couldn't agree more.
And I think that's what makes this deep dive so valuable for you, the listener. We haven't just given you a summary of the episode. They're a list of fan theories. We've invited you into a conversation.
A conversation, right.
A process of critical thinking where you can draw your own conclusions and grapple with those big questions. That's Severance Races.
Yeah, and hopefully this deep dive has given you some new insights and perspectives to consider as you continue your journey into the unsettling world of Lumen Industries.
Lumen Industries.
Remember, the truth is out there.
It is out there.
Somewhere.
Somewhere.
Just be careful which doors you open.
Which doors you open.
Along the way.
Along the way.